beautiful entrepreneur, it's time for us to have a talk. And for that little talk, I've jumped down onto the carpet of my office. Yes, it's time for another Podcarpet episode. Now, what a vague and intriguing podcast episode title. It's time for us to have a talk, but I guarantee you this is an important talk for us to have, and it's going to be relevant for 99% of you, so listen in. This is episode number 455 of the Heart Centered Business Podcast, which means you can find all the relevant links and the show notes for today's episode over at tashcorbin.com/455. Hello, I'm Tash Corbin, a business strategist and mentor based on the Sunshine Coast in Australia. The mission of this podcast is to help heart-centered entrepreneurs to make more money and in doing so, change the world for the better. This podcast was recorded on the lands of the Gubbi Gubbi and Jinnaburra people. Always was, always will be Aboriginal land. So what is it that I want us to have a little talk about today? Well, I want us to have a little talk about what you are making do with in your business. What things in your business aren't quite up to scratch or aren't ideal, but you just make do. It might be that you've got an old phone or an old laptop that takes 45 minutes to fire up. Maybe you're working without an office or you don't have a desk you can work at. You spend a lot of time grabbing freebies and you don't invest in your education. You don't invest in building your craft as a provider. You don't invest in building your skills in sales, marketing, CEO skills, getting the support that you need in your business. Maybe you make do in that you go to events for your business, but only if you can take your family and it benefits other people as well. Or you're making do by going to events, but only if you can do it really, really cheaply. Maybe you're making do when it comes to time. Whatever time is left after all of your other responsibilities are taken care of is all your business gets. The reason why I wanted us to have a talk about this is because I see so many entrepreneurs, particularly people who are from marginalised communities, who are making do because they think that that's what they have to do in order to be able to create a business. That's all they deserve. That's all their business deserves. Until their business is making the big bucks, their business gets the scraps. Until their business is making the big bucks, they, as the CEO of their business, get the scraps. But the reality is that a business that's built on scraps of time, scraps of investment, with tools that don't work or that slow you down, is a business that is going to take longer to grow and thrive. The very thing that your business needs in order to be making the money you want to make is actually for you to stop giving it what's left over. Stop making do with less than ideal tools, time, resources, and investment. Something that we say in the Heart Centered Business community is, what would Steve do? And Steve is this fictional, white, married, middle-aged man living in the 50s. If Steve was starting a business, he'd have an office and a desk, and he'd go out and buy the best of the best equipment for his business. Steve would make sure that the kids didn't disturb him. Steve would have his wife bring him food and do his washing and his dishes because he was doing important work starting a business. Now, I'm not saying that you need to be a Steve per se, but I do want you to be a great boss to yourself. What would a great boss do? What tools, resources, and investment would a great boss make if they had a brilliant business idea just like yours? If you were working for a brilliant boss and you said to them, look, I'd really love to build this part of the business, but I don't have a computer that works fast enough. What would a great boss do? If you went to a great boss and said to them, look, I really think I've got what it takes to make tens of thousands of dollars a month with this business, but I'm running it on scraps of time between other tasks, what would a great boss say? And what would a great boss encourage you to do? The number one job that you have as the owner of your business, as the boss of your business, is to be a great boss to yourself. And if you've been making do with leftovers, with scraps, with tools and resources that don't work, if you've been making do grabbing freebie after freebie, when a little bit of paid support would take you a long way really quickly, it's time to start giving yourself more than scraps, more than leftovers. Stop making do and start making yourself and your business a priority. That's our little talk. I just want you to be a great boss to yourself. Now, if you want to build your skills in planning, organising, and being the CEO of your business, I have a fabulous little offer for you. It's my Biz Planning Boss course. Now, if you come over to the show notes of today's episode at tashcorbin.com/455, you'll be able to grab the Biz Planning Boss course at the best available price. We always have the best available price linked in the show notes of the relevant podcasts that talk about these courses. So head on over to tashcorbin.com/455 if you want to find out more about Biz Planning Boss and grab it at the best available price right now. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode. I hope that you're going to take this seriously and be a good boss to yourself. And until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. Bye for now.